Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you my autumn and Halloween sweaters, most of which I made, some of which I didn't. But this first one I made, and as you can see, it's a little lopsided. This arm is a little bit longer than the other one, which I can fix, so there's no worry there, but I decided to show it as it is, as an example that things can be a work in progress, and that's okay. I didn't put any of the loose ends on the other side, what's supposed to be the inside of it. I kind of just left them there because it gives it more of a distressed look almost. And the skeleton design is only on the front, so there's a clear front and back to it. And it doesn't really have a clear neck, it's just sort of got an opening. As well as, it's got an interesting shape to it because the white part here was a little bit too wide. So I had to kind of bunch it up in the back and then like sew it. I didn't use thread. I used like more yarn to like tie it so that it would be a little bit less wide and look a little bit better. So from doing that and bunching that up, that lifted this a little bit. So it's got kind of a draped sort of look, which I quite like actually, even though that wasn't the intention. So that is my skeleton sweater, and next we'll move on to the only other sweater here that has black as the base color. So this next one is very special because I won this. This was for free. So the brand that this is from is called Snag, or the full name Snag Tights. So their primary products that they do are really colorful tights. I have a lot of Halloween tights from them actually, and sorry, I just dropped something. Anyway, I am actually going to be doing a video showing my Halloween tights soon, as well as dyeing a couple pairs of tights for Halloween, so stay tuned for that video. But Snag does also make clothing as well, and this is one of their sweaters that they made, and I won it through a competition, contest about a year back. That was a wish list thing that was around in December. So I won this. You chose 3 items that you wanted, so this was one that I chose, along with another sweater that has like strawberries on it and stuff, and a nice silky robe. So anyway, so I got this for free, and I believe the name of the sweater is Mystic, and it has a bunch of witchy fun symbols all over it, most of which I am familiar with. I had hoped that the triquetra would be on this, and it's not, but the closest to that is the Triskelion, which is this, which is on it. So that's good enough, and I love that the little triple moon with the pentagram or pentacle, depending on which word you use, is in the middle there. And it's very nice and oversized. It's the type of length, I know you can't see with how it's in frame, but it's a very good length. It's like a sweater dress, pretty much, which is really nice if I'm like, I want to wear a sweater and I don't want to be unbearably hot, so I can just wear this with like a pair of pajama shorts or something. So, very nice. And pretty good quality as well. It's very comfortable. I mean, most things I get from Snag are very comfortable, so I'm not surprised there, but I would say worth the price, except for the fact that I won it. So it was worth entering the contest for, because I'm very happy to have it. I like it a lot. So this one is one that I made, and it is my haunted house sweater. So the house is a Second Empire mansard roof style home, which is also the type of house I am manifesting for myself. I also have a little moon here, a couple of pumpkins, one of them has a face, and I pretty much had like either orange or black sweaters as the base colors, so I wanted something a little bit different, and this has the really nice purple and this sort of teal-ish color. I'm not sure how it shows up on camera though. It might show up a little more green or a little more blue, but anyway. So this is funny because I finished this the day of Halloween last year in 2023. I finished this and the video for it. I did a YouTube video about making this. This is the only one out of all of these where I constructed it and showed the construction in a YouTube video, so you can go back and watch that if you want. But anyway, I finished this and the video for it on October 31st. I scrambled to get it uploaded. I uploaded it after dinner, so like around 5:30. So in between dinner and going out to give the kids candy, I was finishing this up. So I got it done just in time. And this is kind of unique because I used some embroidery thread to do the little smaller details like the outline of the door and the lines over the windows. And I believe I also used that for the face on the jack-o'-lantern. And this has an interesting shape to it. It's got kind of a dolman sleeve. If you've ever seen like blouses or dresses from the 80s, they'll have that very wide sort of sleeve going, which wasn't what I originally was going to do. It kind of just turned into that. But I do quite like that because it makes it more roomy. And the sleeve is just kind of a few different colors that I had, because I was really trying to use mostly scraps for this so that I didn't have to really buy any new yarn. I think the only yarn that I actually bought to use for this project was the teal yarn, and everything else was just what I had on hand. And the neck on this is just a slit as well, but it's a wider one, so it begins and it opens up a lot more than the skeleton one that had that sort of neckline. So yeah, that is my haunted house sweater that I made last year. Okay, so I know this looks super weird. That is because this sweater is off the shoulder and my sewing mannequin doesn't have arms, so it doesn't have the length that this would take to be able to sit and look the way it's supposed to normally look. So I've had to kind of drape it upwards in the back so that it doesn't fall down as I'm talking about it, which is what's creating this weird slumping in the front here. So sorry. But anyway, so this one is just for autumn. This was kind of supposed to be my when it's too hot to wear a sweater. Think like the beginning of autumn, the beginning of August, where I really want to wear an autumn sweater, but it is way too hot for that. So the way it's constructed, you have these little perforations in the front here, these little openings where air comes in, and you have the underside of the sleeve is made up of these little square opening, sort of like the way that you would do a granny square, but not exactly, so that you have air coming in under the arms, and then at the top of it you have that little cable stitch. You've also got 2 cable stitches on either side on the breasts, and then the entire back is more of those square openings that you have on the underside of the sleeve, so that you've got air coming in the entire back, as well as you've got, it is cropped, so you're not getting hot air trapped underneath, you're just getting air flowing through it. And then you've got the off the shoulder. This is the little tie up here, so that depending on how far or up on the shoulders that I want it, I can like tighten it if need be. Because yarn, similar to like when you put on jeans and at the end of the day it was looser than when you put it on, like yarn can kind of do that, so having a little tie up to tighten it, that can be a good thing. So you've got airflow on the underside of the sleeves, on most of the back. You've got airflow because it's off the shoulder, so your shoulders are breezy, and you don't have air trapped underneath because it's cropped. And you've got these little perforations right in the front here, in the middle of the chest, so you've got airflow coming in there. So the entire thing is meant to keep you cool, and I would say that it successfully does that. However, I was being experimental, and I had never made anything with thumb holes. And so I was like, I want to have little thumb holes on the end of the cuffs, and they do fit exactly like thumb holes. They are functional as thumb holes, but having that little bit of extra yarn covering my hand makes my hand and my like wrists kind of like hot, which defeats the purpose of wanting to be cool with this. So it's like I'm kept cool, but then my hands are hotter than they should be. So I think I should probably remove the thumb hole things off the cuff if I can. I don't want to unravel the entire cuff and then have that become a problem. So I don't know. I don't know if I can actually undo it, but I should probably try to, so that it can keep me entirely cool the way that it should. But otherwise, I'm happy with how it turned out, because this was actually leftover yarn from another project, so I didn't want to have to use too much of it. And by making those like squares with all the holes in it on the underside and the entire back and in the front here, that also used up less yarn, which made it so that I had enough to make this little, I don't even know if you can actually call it a sweater, but yeah, I'm very happy with that, and it's also the first time that I tried those little weavy cable stitch things, and it worked. So I'm happy about that as well. Guys, this sweater is my baby. This is the first sweater that I ever made, and I love it. So it is more straight up just like autumn rather than Halloween. But what's interesting about this is that I made this off of a reference photo, not a pattern. I didn't follow a pattern, I just sort of was like, let me wing it and see, and it turned out. But I followed it off of a picture of a vintage sweater, and there are a couple differences. So the brown from the reference picture was not different shades of brown. I could not find brown yarn when I was looking for the yarn to make this that was all one shade, but I found multi-shade brown, and I was like, that might be interesting. Let me get that. Let me use that and see what that looks like. And I'm happy with what it looks like. I would say the original brown was like somewhere along that shade. It wasn't super light and it wasn't super dark, it was somewhere in the middle. And the orange from the original photo was not that dark of an orange. It was closer to the orange from the off-the-shoulder sweater you can see here, but this is a slightly darker orange. But that's neither here nor there. I love the way it turned out. So the shades are not quite the same as the original photo, but the design of the line placement, having the entire top be that brown, and then having the small brown stripes get larger, and then a little break, and then larger to smaller brown lines again until you get to the brown waistband there, and having those lines be repeated on the sweater's sleeves. That is all true to the reference photo that I used. So I did recreate the design perfectly. It was just the shades of the colors that ended up different, but I'm okay with that because I like how it turned out. I think the multicolor brown is more interesting than the original photo. So yeah, you don't have to recreate something completely. If you find something you like and you can do it a little bit differently, then do it, because you might really like it. The cuffs do not stay rolled up, so I did have to apply a little bit of sewing skills and tack down 2 sides of it on either side to keep it rolled up like that. Otherwise, the arms are way too long because I'm short. I am 5'3". So when you are 5'3", your arms are not very long. Even with the cuff rolled up. Cuff. You know what I'm talking about. Even with the cuff rolled up, these are still a bit long on me. But that is okay. And yeah, there are some little flyaways here from when I tied off from switching colors that I do pull to the other side, or the underside, the wrong side that you don't see, but sometimes they flip back out, so that's not a sign of it being unfinished. That's just something that occasionally happens with homemade pieces. So yeah, I really like it, because I love brown because it's a really nice earthy tone, and orange is my favorite color, like, ever. When I was a kid, my favorite color was purple, and I still like purple, but I definitely would say orange is my favorite color as an adult. And actually ever since I was a teen, but like comparing being a kid to an adult, kid, purple, adult, orange, and if an orange option isn't available, I would go red, unless there's a shade of purple that I really like. Anyway, that's neither here nor there pertaining to sweaters, but anyway. So I really like this, but this is quite hot. I made the mistake of going out for a walk wearing this in like mid-August a couple of years back, and I was like, why did I do that to myself? Which was part of the reason for making that off-shoulder sweater that I showed you previously. Because as much as I like this is not something that you wear in the summer, and I am not going to make that mistake again. So this one is my Halloween sweater that I was very indecisive about because I knew I wanted to do the stripes, and I knew I wanted to have fun with color blocking, like the top and bottom are black and some of the stripes are black, and then you have a little bit of orange, and then you have recurring orange on the sleeves, whereas normally your collar and your waistband and your sleeves typically match, and I was like, or your cuffs, and I was like, nah, and I wanted to have different stripe colors, so I have green and purple on the sleeves, which, because I have black in the sweater and this purple is kind of dark, I was kind of worried about the purple not being super noticeable as purple because of that, but I think that it still shows up as purple even on camera, so that's fine. Again, because the sewing mannequin does not have arms, you have this weird dip happening here with the sleeves, so it looks a little weird, but it looks fine on me, so don't worry about it. In terms of the indecisiveness, I did have an idea that I never fully went through with for this, of putting little, like, ghosts on it. Little, fun little guys, like this. And, I never fully decided on that, because I was like, I kind of like it, but then what if I don't want the ghosts on it anymore, and then I have to take them off, and whatever. And then when I made my haunted house sweater, I was like, oh, what if I put the ghosts on that, but then what if I don't like that? The more I think about it, the more I feel like the ghosts would look better on the haunted house sweater, so I think that's actually what I might go with. And that was also part of the reason why I didn't put them on, because I was like, I know I want to do a haunted house sweater another year, and it would be more apt to put ghosts on that, because I don't want to get too repetitive with what I'm doing. This was also why I was like, I already did a super dark color with orange stripes before with the sweater you saw previously, so I was like, I don't want to have a repeat of that, and that's why I went with, like, let's do black and orange and then green and purple, and have the cuffs not match the waistband and the collar, and I like the way it turned out. So I think I might just leave this as is. I don't think I'm going to add the ghosts to it, because I'm happy with it. So yeah, this is the last sweater that I'm going to be showing you. And this I bought and then modified. So this was from the thrift store. It was only $6. Pretty good deal, because this is a pretty high quality sweater. It was from the men's section, and I don't know if you can see here, but the shoulders are a bit wide, because here, where I'm putting my index finger versus where I'm holding with my thumb, that's where the shoulders end and where the rest of the arm would begin on this female sized mannequin. So the shoulders are wide because this sweater is built for a masculine body type to, like, wear. That's also why it's incredibly long as well, like a sweater dress. But I didn't mind that because I wear oversized things as it is. So it doesn't really matter to me. The blazer that I turned into a blazer dress for my Good Omens Crowley costume for Halloween last year, that was a men's blazer. So I've thrifted men's clothing and worn them before. It's no big deal. And I knew that I wanted to have an orange with a crescent moon sweater. And I was kind of like, for a design that simple, I kind of don't want to make the rest of the sweater myself, because it's not like it's a specific stripe coloration or pattern that I definitely have to do myself, because I can't just buy it. This was like, no, if the base of the sweater is just an orange sweater, then I should just buy that. But I didn't want to buy a new sweater because it would have been like $20 or whatever. So the thrift store came in clutch. Only $6, very oversized, very long, very cozy, very soft as well. Where the issue comes in is that for crocheting, this is crochet, not knitting. I prefer crocheting. All of the sweaters out of this bunch that I showed you that I made were crocheted. You can find a lot of tutorials on YouTube on how to make different shapes with crochet, but for the crescent moon, I could only find little moon tutorials. Like with my haunted house sweater, you saw there was the little yellow moon. I could not find a tutorial for a bigger moon, because when you make something bigger in crochet, that means extra stitches of yarn, which also changes the shape as you do it. So I ended up, from the tutorial that I followed where I tried to just make it bigger and just increase some stitches where I think they needed to, it didn't quite come out the shape that I was looking for, and when I sewed it down, I tried to like fix it and try to get it into the shape that I wanted by sewing it down in a certain fashion to get it to lay a certain way, and it still didn't quite work. So I'm going to just have to redo this, but I have put off doing that because I'm neurodivergent and I put things off if there's no novelty and it's not like something new. This isn't a new project. So my like stimulation from fixing something is not as high as the stimulation from making something new. But that's also why this year I decided I am not going to, well, not that I'm not making a new sweater, but that I'm not going to buy any new yarn for a new sweater, because I have some yarn for an autumn sweater that is enough to make the entire sweater in my collection, and it is colors that can still work going into November, so I might be finishing that sweater before October, or it might be going into November. It's kind of a no pressure, not making a video out of it sort of project, because I would like to dedicate some time to kind of fixing this and also looking at the other sweaters and saying, like, is there any place where they might fit better or anything that I have to redo? And, you know, deciding whether I want to put the ghosts on the haunted house sweater. So I want to fix the way that the moon is shaped. So that will be something for me to figure out. But you can see the vision, though. You can see the vision. You can see what my intention was here. So it's almost perfect. The shape is almost what I want. It's just not quite there. And just to show you the yarn that I will be using for the sweater that I want to make this year. Oh, there we go, now you're focusing. So it's multicolored, it's different shades of yellow, orange, a little bit of red in there, and it's fluffy like the stuff that I made the skeleton sweater out of. So yeah, the shape of it is going to be kind of like the haunted house sweater, where it's higher up on the waistline, sort of cropped, just kind of a slit at the top for the neck, and pretty wide, almost dolman sleeves. That's what I want to do with this. So I might not finish it before October 31st. I have a bunch of stuff planned for October, like different videos and things. So, like I said, no pressure on myself. I might just do it going into November, but that is my autumn and or Halloween sweater project for this year. I do one every year, and I'm not gonna do that every year as in for the rest of my life. But when I was age 20 and I made my first one, I was like, until I'm 30, I would like to make one every year. So that's what I've done. So this is the materials for the one that I'm making this year. So I hope you guys like all of the sweaters that I showed you. And even though I'm not making a video out of this year's one, I may do one next year. I already have the idea for the one that I want to do next year. So if you want to see a video of me making next year's, please let me know. And also tell me, what was your favorite out of all of these? Where do you think I cooked the most? Just have a great autumn. Have a great Halloween. Thank you for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Because the algorithm doesn't like to be nice all the time. It's only nice to me sometimes. So for you to watch all the way to the end, that's so wonderful. And you're very kind for that. So I will see you in the next video, whenever that is.